particular, we discussed the possibility of moving ahead with the provision of non-lethal defense equipment to the government of Libya. As we moved ahead with the many ways in which the United States and Libya can work closely as partners, there remain areas where there remains real work to be done. The status of human rights and political reform in Libya will remain a chief element of concern. In addition, we understand that no formal decision has been made regarding the potential release from Scottish prison of Abdel Basset al-Megrahi, the man convicted of involvement in the bombing of Pan Am Flight 103. We discussed these and other issues in a spirit of mutual respect and friendship. The ties between the United States and Libya have taken a remarkable and positive turn in recent years, and we intend to do everything we can to help ensure that the relations between our countries deepen in all facets of the relationship. Our visit has been brief, productive, interesting, and informative, and we are glad to have had the opportunity to come to this beautiful country.
Obama shook hands with Libya's Colonel Gaddafi. There's been hostility between the two countries for years over Libya's support for terrorist groups.
Is the goal of the current effort to resume peace negotiations between...
Second, removes remaining economic restrictions on aviation services with Libya, thus permitting direct scheduled air service and regular passenger charter flights, subject to standard safety and any other regulatory requirements. And third, unblocks approximately $1.3 billion in assets frozen under the Libya sanctions program belonging to both Libyan and non-Libyan entities.
Which apparently rallies Palestinians.
I would remind you that this step is taken in response to actions that Libya has taken over the past 9 months to address concerns by the international community about its weapons of mass destruction programs. Specifically, they have worked closely with the United States, Britain, and international organizations such as the International Atomic Energy Agency and the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons to verifiably eliminate its WMD and Missile Technology Control Regime class missile programs.
Overseas now, newly discovered documents in Libya suggest the regime of ousted dictator Muammar Gaddafi had a working relationship with the CIA. Barry Peterson in Tripoli tells us the once secret papers could prove troubling.
Strewn all over the place, the secrets of Libya's spy masters and torturers, and how the CIA and British intelligence apparently worked hand in hand from 2003 and 2004 with the man then in charge, Musa Kusa, then head of Libyan intelligence, and later as foreign minister. He was the first high-profile defection from Gaddafi's regime. The documents discovered and analyzed by Human Rights Watch.
This is at the height of Bush and Rumsfeld's rendition campaign. It's a dark stain on American history.
Rendition means that U.S. prisoners captured in Iraq or Afghanistan were sent to third countries, where sometimes prisoners being interrogated were subjected to torture. In one case, the Americans arranged for this man, Abdel Hakim Belhaj, to be captured in Bangkok and then transferred to Libya as a suspected terrorist. One document, apparently from the CIA, says, quote, "We must have assurances from your government that he will be treated humanely and that his human rights will be respected."
It's just words on paper.
And that did not happen?
Absolutely not. Al-Sadiq was tortured, and he was subjected, like all of the other prisoners in Abu Salim, to inhumane and abusive treatment.
Belhaj is now a commander of rebel forces in Libya and told reporters he bears no ill will towards the CIA. Both British intelligence and the CIA refused to confirm or deny their authenticity. Amid the documents, a silly moment. British agents arranging that then Prime Minister Tony Blair would meet Gaddafi in a tent while visiting Tripoli. As the document says,
The plain fact is that the journalist will love it.
It is worth noting that while the CIA worked with Gaddafi then, it is working with the rebels now. It helped the rebels topple Gaddafi's regime, and it's believed CIA teams are still here on the ground as the civil war goes on.
انتخابات الرئاسة الأمريكية السابقة والذي يضم العضو الديمقراطي بالكونغرس السيناتور جوزيف ليبرمان والعضوين
As Libya's cell doors open, so do some of its secret files. Routine torture in Libyan jails was no secret. But the documents show that didn't stop Britain and America working closely with the regime. Their main contact was Colonel Gaddafi's right-hand man, Musa Kusa, who ran the police state. He defected to Britain earlier this year. In 2004, Prime Minister Tony Blair visited Libya. By then, MI6 was working with the CIA to send people they believed to be jihadist terrorists to Libya's notorious jails for interrogation.
After Colonel Gaddafi came in from the cold, Libya and its prison system became an important part of the war on terror. Strong working relationships were formed. As the pressure was tightening on the Gaddafi regime back in March and April, senior officials would express their astonishment about the speed with which their Western friends had turned on them. A close advisor to Colonel Gaddafi told me that MI6 had been working with them here in Tripoli right up until the start of the uprising on February the 17th.
The military command let me see some of the CIA and MI6 documents about a Libyan arrested in Bangkok in 2004 and transported to Tripoli. In one, an MI6 official tells Musa Kusa not to forget that the intelligence which caught the suspected al-Qaeda sympathizer came from Britain.
On a commercial flight from Kuala Lumpur to London.
That man is Abdul Hakim Belhaj, now military commander of Tripoli, always an anti-Gaddafi fighter, he says, but never al-Qaeda. He says he was tortured by the CIA and by the Libyans after his arrest. What happened to me is illegal, and it deserves an apology, especially from people who claim to work with human rights. Now he's about the most powerful man in Tripoli. Mr. Belhaj says that after the CIA and MI6 got him here in March 2004, they didn't witness his torture, but interrogated him afterwards. And Musa Kusa told him he'd die in his cell.
The top people in MI6.
A few months earlier, on Christmas Day, one of MI6's most senior people sent Musa Kusa an affectionate note.
Khaled is coming to lunch today, Christmas lunch, and it is a pity that you cannot join us.
Isn't it fair enough that these people would have a working relationship with their interlocutors on the Libyan side?
Well, he was useful to them. He was useful in sending terror suspects to Libya, where he would torture them, basically, and get the answers from them that the CIA and MI6 want.
I found these photographs of prisoners bound, battered and terrified in one of Tripoli's jails. Britain and the US now condemn Colonel Gaddafi's regime. But once, it was useful to them.
Justice, it's not about agenda, it's not about mobilizing people, it's about dialing for corporate dollars. These two parties have sold the U.S. government and the American people to the highest bidders.